Hello, Crafty Friends. This is Jen, and thank you for joining me today. Today I have a fun one for you. We're going to be using Karen Burniston's Cupcake Add-ons and border dies to create fun cupcakes, and the borders will be used as toppers. I have an example here for you of a Halloween card that I made using the Halloween borders and the cupcake add-ons, and that just shows how cute they can turn out. So the first card we're going to be making is an Easter themed card. I have die cut 6 cupcakes. We're going to be using 2 of the cupcake add-on pieces to create this card. And I have my Easter borders die cut as well. And this is all die cut from a heavyweight smooth white cardstock. So I'm going to be coloring these in with Copic markers. And the best part about these toppers are the wrappers for the cupcakes is you can either color them in with Copic markers like I'm doing here, or you could also die cut them out and run it through your embossing plate and really make that embossed feature stand out. And then you could go over it with Distress ink in different colors to make those wrappers pop, and we're going to use that in another part of the video where I show you how to use different ink to create a two-tone wrapper for the cupcakes. So for this one, I'm just going in with my yellow Y15, and then I'm using Y13 as my medium color. And I've penciled in my lines on this one, but you don't have to pencil them in if you don't want to. You could just go with the darker marker and create them that way, the lines for the cupcake wrapper. And I'm just going over these with the yellow colors just to really make that wrapper pop. And this is a nice way to do that. You could also use 2 different colors. You could make rainbow wrappers. That was a suggestion from my daughter, which maybe I will use in another card, but I didn't do rainbow this time. So this one is yellow, just different yellows. Now I didn't show coloring both of them because that was kind of redundant. I did them both the same way. So now I'm going to be coloring the frosting, and I'm just going in with my darker color, which is the R43, and I'm just highlighting the edges of the icing. And this is just to give it the depth, like the light is facing the front of the cupcake sort of thing. And then you're just going to go in with your medium color now, which I used R20. And you just want to blend that medium color in with the darker color. And you may need to go over it a couple times to blend it really well. And if you find that it's not dark enough on the edges for you, you can always go over it again. Now I'm going in with my lightest color, which I used R004. And I'm just really making sure that I have that nicely blended. And there's one of our frostings. So we have 2 frostings now. I'm going to glue the wrappers onto the bottom of the cupcakes. And you just need a little line of glue along the bottom of the icing. And then I'm just adding that on to the bottom of the icing. And again, just a thin line of glue, and then we add our wrapper. Now, for this cupcake, I decided to use the rabbits from the Easter border as kind of like a little candy rabbit to add on to the top of the cupcake. So I'm just trimming out 2 rabbits, and you just need to trim a little bit around the paws. And for the second rabbit, you'll have to do both the front and the back paws. And I'm just trimming that so that, there's no little straggly bits. It almost looks like it was die cut on its own. Now for these rabbits, I'm going in with my I believe that's an E30. It's called Brick White. And then I'm just using a little bit of that just to give the little bunny a little bit of detail. Other than that, I'm just leaving it pretty much all white. But I just wanted to add a little bit of shadow with that brick white so that bunny kind of like popped on the top of the cupcake. And I'm just going to place that on there just as you would, you know, confetti or sprinkles or, you know, other little cupcake toppers. Okay, so now that we have those on, I'm going to add a little bit of detail to the cupcake. So I'm just going over the edges of the cupcake with the, it's a Stickles glitter gel in diamond. And then I'll set those aside to dry. For the next set of cupcakes, I'm going with a blue, like a teal blue wrapper. So I'm using BG49 as my darker color. And I used the darker color to create the lines on my wrapper instead of a pencil this time. Then I'm going in with BG45 as my medium color and just blending those two together. And then I'm going in with, and I'm sorry that I'm not showing that here, but I believe that's a BG01. And I'm going in with yellows for my icing this time. And it's basically the same way of coloring the icing as before. And I'm just going in with the darker color and then the medium color and then the lighter color. And we're going to do that for all three sets of cupcakes. Now for this last set of cupcakes, I'm going with something a little different. We're going to be adding like a glaze to the top of our cupcakes. And it's almost like, you know, when you pour melted chocolate over something and you get that fun drippy glaze on whatever it was that you poured it onto. That's kind of what we're doing for the top of this cupcake set. So I'm going in with E53 and I'm kind of making what I would call a buttercream icing topping for our cupcake. And then I'm using E00. And then I'm going to go in with my blending tool, like my blending marker, and then just smoothing out those colors together. Because you don't want it really yellow or beigey colored. It's just to give the appearance of like a vanilla icing or a buttercream icing. And now I'm going in with V17. And we're going to add a purple glazed topping to the top of these cupcakes. If I have one complaint about Copic markers, it's that they don't have great purple colors. I wish they'd come out with better purple colors, but maybe one day. And I'm just going in with V15 to create the topping. And we're going to do that with both cupcakes. And then for the wrapper, I'm using a green color. So I'm using G07. And that will be our base color. I didn't want to go too dark because this is like it's an Easter themed card. So now I'm just using YG25, and then we're going in with a very light green after that, which somehow got cut out. So for this one, we're going to be using the little eggs in the Easter borders to create almost like mini eggs. And I'm just going to color those in and then add them to the top of the cupcakes. For my next set of cupcakes, we're going with a beach-themed cupcake set. I thought this would be kind of something different. So I'm making red and white striped cupcake wrappers and blue and white striped cupcake wrappers, and I'm only using 3 cupcakes for this one. And then we'll use 2 panels instead of just 1 panel and 2 cupcake add-ons, or all 3 cupcake add-ons. We're just going to do a 1 cupcake add-on for this card. So I'm just adding the darker colors and then the medium and lighter colors using blue and reds. And then for the icing on the top, we're going to go with one solid, like 1 color type, And then we're going to add on these fun beach borders. And I used the little crabs and the flamingos to add as my cupcake toppers. For this last set of cupcakes, we're going to be using Karen Burniston's baking borders, and we're going to be adding miniature cupcakes, a pie, and we're also going to be adding cookies to these ones. For these cupcakes, I decided to go with a Neapolitan themed icing. So we have a chocolate, a strawberry, and a vanilla. And for the wrappers on these cupcakes, I use Simon Says Stamps Positively Saturated Ink in Seafoam and Surf to create a two-tone wrapper. And there you go. We have 3 cupcakes using the baking borders. So here's my finished cards. I used this card as my Easter themed card, and I used the Landscape Rectangle Accordion and then the Easter themed cupcakes with that. I also went with a beach themed card for this one, as it went with my beach themed cupcakes. I used some of the Karen Burniston's tropical dyes and sea animals. And for this one, I used the Rockin rectangle to show that you could use the cupcakes just on their own if you wanted to. So now we have 3 different cards for different occasions. It could be a holiday, it could be a birthday, or just to say we're floating by to say hi. Have a great day, and thank you for joining me.